Everyone thinks you need a 4K dash cam to justify a premium price, but here's the thing. The BlackVue DR770X 2CH is only 1080p and still might be the smarter spend because it nails the parts that actually protect you when things go wrong. I tested it for 3 weeks, over 600 miles of mixed city and highway, 7 overnight parking sessions, and a 102-degree cabin heat day. I went in expecting a pricey 1080p relic. But what I found changed my mind, and it explains why the Amazon rating hovers at 3.9 and yet diehards still swear by it. Watch this before you dismiss it as overpriced. Because reliability, not resolution, ended up being the real story here. Before we dive into what I discovered, if you're already thinking this might be your setup, I've got the best current price linked below. But stick around because what surprised me in testing could save you money or headaches depending on how you drive and where you park. Look, here's the deal. I needed a dash cam that could genuinely watch my car when I can't. My last budget cam corrupted its card after a summer heat wave and missed a sideswipe in a grocery lot. Then I tried a bargain 4K unit, looked great on a desk, overheated on hot days, and the parking mode was more of a checkbox than a feature. I wanted something discreet so it wouldn't attract attention, dependable in heat, and smart enough to alert me during parking incidents. The DR770X 2CH checked those boxes on paper. Front and rear Full HD with Sony Starvis sensors, 60 FPS up front, built-in GPS and Wi-Fi, native hardwire for parking with voltage monitoring, supercapacitors, and BlackVue cloud access with an optional LTE module. But was an expensive 1080p rig really worth it in 2026? Skeptical was an understatement. Daytime clarity first. I ran the front camera at 1080p 60 and the rear at 1080p 30 with a 139-degree field of view on both. At 4570 mph, license plates of vehicles I was following were readable in most frames during lane changes and braking, thanks to that 60 fps freeze. The bitrate is tuned to favor motion detail and the lens is genuinely sharp edge-to-edge. But then I did side-by-side pulls with a 4K competitor. The 4K looked crisper paused, yet in real motion the DR770X's smoother frames gave me more usable captures, especially on motorcycles splitting lanes and quick cut-ins. That was my first interesting moment. Night and rain were my next torture tests. Under sodium and LED streetlights, the Starvis sensor kept exposure stable without nuking highlights. Headlight flare was controlled enough that plates at a stop were often readable. At speed, it's hit or miss, true for almost every cam. The rear cam was better than I expected on wet roads. Tailgaters' plates were legible when they got within 2 to 3 car lengths. But then, in a pitch-black residential street, the DR770X favored a cleaner image over extreme ISO. That means less grain, but you won't magically read a plate from across the block. Honest trade-off. Parking mode is where this thing differentiates itself. Hardwired in with the included 3-wire harness, I set the voltage cutoff to 12.0 V and a 12-hour timer. It recorded buffered events 5 seconds before and after impacts and motion and tagged them cleanly. In my apartment lot, it caught a door ding at 2:11 a.m., sent a push notification through BlackVue Cloud, and I could scrub the clip from my phone without getting out of bed. But then I added the optional LTE module with a prepaid SIM for true remote access. Live view came up in about 4-6 seconds and thumbnail uploads were quick. Full clip uploads took a minute or two depending on cell coverage. It's not instant CSI, but it is enough to know who messed with your car while it's still fresh. Heat and reliability were the big ones. Inside cabin temperature hit 102 degrees F on a midday test. The DR770X kept rolling, gave me a verbal prompt on event detections, and never threw an overheat warning. Supercapacitors here matter. My previous 4K cam with a tiny lithium pack shut down twice under the same conditions. But then I did catch one quirk. The DR770X is picky about microSD cards. It likes BlackVue branded or high-endurance cards. A generic 128 GB card triggered format warnings. Swapping to a high-endurance 128 GB solved it. Consider that a hidden cost of ownership. Here's where it gets interesting. The most surprising part wasn't the image, it was the system. The DR770X's stealthy cylindrical design practically disappears behind the rearview mirror. The voice prompts tell you exactly what's happening, and the app is stable once you learn its flow. I invested hours driving, idling, experimenting with impact sensitivity, adding a CPL filter sold separately to reduce windshield reflections, and comparing footage to a Viofo A129 Pro Duo and a Thinkware U1000. Against those, the Dr. 770X lost the spec sheet battle on raw resolution, but won on uptime, heat resilience, and a genuinely usable parking cloud stack. It's the difference between a great camera and a great security system. Too good to be true? No, there are real compromises. The rear camera at night won't read moving plates reliably. The cloud is fantastic for alerts but depends on your LTE signal and comes with a data cost. And if you never use parking mode, you're paying for features you won't touch. Still, in the moments that matter, hit and runs, break-ins, parking taps, it simply delivers. Now that you know the strongest value is protection and reliability, not pixels, you'll want to grab it while it's in stock or discounted. These kits fluctuate a lot. I linked the best current price and the LTE module and CPL filter below so you can build the setup that fits how you drive and park. Bottom line, is the BlackVue DR770X 2CH worth the extra money? If you park outside, care about remote alerts, and want a camera that shrugs off heat and runs quietly day after day, yes. It's a protection-first system with 1080p that punches above its weight. If you just want maximum resolution for YouTube-worthy clips and never use parking mode, a cheaper 4K unit could make more sense. Rideshare drivers, apartment parkers, and commuters in busy lots should prioritize this. For pure spec chasers, look elsewhere. In the end, it's not about pixels, it's about proof when it counts, and the Dr. 770X delivers the proof.